I know I'm making the exact same topic from that last video, but hear me out. I think Kirby Air Riders might inspire Sakurai to develop the next Smash Bros. Game on Switch 2. Here's why. Before I dig deeper into this topic, let's look back at the time when the very first Smash Bros. Game was being made. So after Sakurai developed the first 3 Kirby games in the series, he wanted to make a fighting game, that being the Dragon King. Before it was called Super Smash Bros., and unfortunately we never got to play the Dragon King, because Sakurai has scrapped it and turned the prototype into Super Smash Bros. Then Nintendo saw this and later approved it in 1997. And that is when Super Smash Bros. Was actually born. Then fast forward to the year 2000 and Sakurai has started developing a sequel to the first Smash Bros. Game, which is Melee. Apparently the game had only been in development for only 13 months, which kind of felt like the game was rushed. But regardless, the game sold really well, and it had been featured in a lot of gaming tournaments.
That ain't Falco! That ain't Falco!
Man, I feel like if Melee had a bit more development time, they probably would have added some more characters in the game. Then in 2003, Kirby Air Ride had been released, and fun fact, this was the last Kirby game that Sakurai had developed back then, because he was pretty tired of being pressured to keep making more Kirby games. So he left HAL Laboratory, and I guess from this point forward, he put his heart and soul to developing Smash Bros. Games. Then fast forward to 2005, and Sakurai started directing Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Wii, and this happened after he left HAL Laboratory in 2003. He didn't just work on the game all by himself, since I know that really big games might not be possible to develop with just one person. He had a whole team with 100 people who worked on this game at the same time. Then after 7 months of developing the game, boom, Super Smash Bros. Brawl got revealed at E3 2006. And apparently the game ended up being delayed several times just to take some more time to finishing the game. So yeah, good thing they didn't rush it, unlike the development time for Smash Melee. And after several delays, Brawl was released in 2008, and this was my very first Smash Bros. Game that I played as a kid back then. I was only 8 years old when it came out. So after Brawl came out in 2008, I guess Sakurai took a break from making Smash Bros. Games, and he decided to develop the next game on the 3DS, which is Icarus Uprising. And yes, Iwata requested him to develop that game during their lunch break. So then he started development on Uprising, but apparently he had some problems trying to develop the game. Firstly, his development team was really limited, and secondly, it was originally meant to be released on the Wii, but then it got moved to the 3DS just to take advantage of the 3DS gimmicks. But then the 3DS screen was really small, so they had to figure out like how many enemies can be shown on the screen at the same time. That's one of the development challenges right there. But after all these development issues, Icarus Uprising came out in 2012. And I believe Uprising might have inspired Smash Bros. 4 to be made and so on because of some of the elements from Uprising, such as the UI, and look at this. This menu is really similar to the Smash Bros. Menu. So I definitely think that Icarus Uprising was inspired by Smash Bros. Ever since Brawl included Pit as a playable character. Then after the release of Icarus Uprising, development has started for Super Smash Bros. 4, and it was going to be released on 2 consoles, both on 3DS and Wii U. Iwata announced the next Smash at E3 2011, but then they started development after Uprising's release. Now from Smash 4 onwards, Sakurai had decided that he would use those cinematic trailers that would reveal each of the new fighters. And surely that worked. People were so hyped to see each of the new characters being announced in the game. And while we're waiting for Smash 4 to be released back in 2014, several new fighter reveals popped up. This is the first Smash Bros. Game to be released on 2 consoles, both the Wii U and 3DS. And because of that, each version had different stages and modes. But all the characters presented in Smash 4 are playable in 2 versions. However, the Ice Climbers couldn't return due to 3DS limitations. The Wii U version handled the Ice Climbers just fine, but they couldn't just have a certain character be exclusive to the Wii U version and not appear on the 3DS. So they were scrapped completely. Then after Smash 4's release on both Wii U and 3DS in December 2014, Sakurai developed DLC for Smash 4 for a total of 14 months. Oh yeah, it wasn't over yet. They decided to add more characters in the game for DLC as well as Mii costumes. But I guess most of us were hyped for new characters and didn't care much for the Mii costumes. After Smash 4 DLC wrapped up in December 2015, with Bayonetta being the last character added in February 2016, Sakurai and his team already started working on the next Super Smash Bros. Game on the Nintendo Switch, which would be called Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The game that would include every single character from past Smash games, as well as adding more newcomers along the way. Apparently Sakurai wasn't done making Smash Bros. Yet. He didn't have time to develop other games, not even a Kirby game. He just went straight to making the next Smash Bros. And the purpose of Ultimate is to include every single character from previous games, despite all the licensing and stuff. But they managed to bring back everyone, even though some of us may not use some of the characters that much. And because of the fact that Ultimate brought back all the veteran fighters, there weren't a lot of newcomers that got added, especially in the base game, unlike in previous games. Unless if you count the DLC as well. And so, BAM! Smash Ultimate got released in December 2018. And it is one of the best Smash games ever made because of the fact that we have a crap ton of characters in this game. And yeah, once again, Waluigi is still an assist trophy and not playable. Sorry Waluigi fans. But that's not all. We got DLC which consists of 2 fighter passes, which doesn't include Piranha Plant since he's a free DLC character at first. But then after the end of January 2019, Piranha Plant only costed $5, which isn't too bad, but I don't know if anyone here cares about Piranha Plant. So after developing DLC for Smash Ultimate for 3 years after Ultimate's release, Sakurai took a break from Smash Bros. Because he was really burnt out for developing Smash for pretty much a whole decade. Then it was August of 2022 and Sakurai started his own YouTube channel which is about game development. And basically his videos are all about teaching people about how to make games, and he only ran his YouTube channel for only 2 years. From 2022 to 2024. And no, he didn't actually retire. In fact, he started development on Kirby Air Riders back at April of 2022. But he didn't really tell us what game he was developing this whole time. We were thinking that it's a Smash 6. But when the Switch 2 Direct was live at April 2nd of 2025, instead of a new Smash Bros. For Switch 2, it's Kirby Air Riders. And now Kirby Air Riders is coming out on November 20th this year, which is the first Kirby game that Sakurai worked on after 22 years. That was the game that Sakurai had developed this whole time during the past 3 years. Now if you take a look at the games that Masahiro Sakurai developed so far, sometimes between releases, he has worked on another game outside of Smash. So he's not just making Smash Bros. Games, he's also making Kirby games as well as Icarus Uprising. Now, the reason why I think Kirby Air Riders might inspire Smash 6 to be made is because of the logo. If you notice something about the logo of Air Riders, the font is really similar to the Smash Ultimate logo. So maybe the Smash 6 logo might just have the black font, but they aren't just gonna call it Super Smash Bros. 6. They'll likely call it something else. And if you take a look at this tweet, basically Sakurai said that he would make another Smash after releasing Kirby Air Riders. And now that we know the release date of Kirby Air Riders, which is November 20th, I can see Sakurai starting development on Smash 6 right after Air Riders comes out. And I don't think the next Smash Bros. Will be the same without Sakurai, since apparently according to this tweet, Sakurai is irreplaceable with Smash Bros. And also, since we have more Kirby characters in Air Riders, such as Megalore, Knuckle Joe, and Suzy, I feel like we're going to have way more than just 3 Kirby characters in Smash. And I guess Kirby Air Ride inspired Brawl to be released, since we only had Kirby, Meta Knight, and King Deity as playable characters in that game. And I guess that's how Meta Knight and King Deity ended up in Smash since Brawl. And we only had 3 Kirby characters since. But with Air Riders, with the amount of playable characters we have in that game, we may not only get Bandana Waddle Dee, but probably even Megalore. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Do you guys think Air Riders would inspire Smash 6 to be made? Do you agree with my theory? Let me know in the comments. Also, we only have 2 signers for my petition to get Waluigi in Smash 6. So please sign a petition, link in the description and in my pinned comment, and hopefully Sakurai listens to us. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe, especially if you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you on the next one. But wait, the video's not over yet. Here's a history of all the games that Sakurai has worked on throughout his career. You're welcome.